to win the race, I can't even explain how, in fact, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. No matter where you go, you're an Indy 500 winner. The only way to be successful in racing is to stay on top of the technical edge, and we've done that with our dealership. So a lot of the technology in our service department and sales processes, everything is the very latest. That gives you an edge. That's being competitive in the car business. You can take it any way you want, but that's the truth.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. Leroy Lucero along with Michael Carlisle. Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. You know, this is a weird week. I mean, I was preparing on Saturday night after the Lobo football game versus Nevada to come in here and just talk more, but then real life had to intrude on the sports world with the passing of Najee Flowers, Lobo football player, and it puts things in perspective as far as life, but then there's still, a job to do. I don't know.
Sure, absolutely, and certainly very sad by the passing of Najee Flowers, the Lobo football defensive lineman. He had missed a couple of games this year, but he played Saturday night, had a couple of tackles against Nevada. And, yeah, it does kind of put things in perspective, when we're accustomed to talking about games and celebrating wins or complaining about losses. Real life can be rough sometimes, and certainly right now a difficult time off the field for Lobo football with Najee's passing.
Absolutely. Obviously, Bob Davie closed practice, and which I think is the right thing to do. The report came yesterday via Twitter and emails, which I think I know there was a few people that are like, well, maybe they should have still had the press conference. I mean, what's to be said? I mean, people are hurting. They need to heal. They need to just process what's going on, and nothing's harder than when someone dies close to you.
And I'm certain at some point Bob Davie will address it.
Sure.
I think he probably has to. But yesterday it was much more important for Bob Davie and the coaching staff to be there for the players and the support staff, and for all of them to be together as a group. That they brought in grief counselors and things like that. Much more important to be there for each other than it was, look, there's plenty of time for him to talk about it. And like I said, I'm sure he will at some point. But yesterday was all about grieving.
Absolutely. And just want to let everyone watching know that there is a GoFundMe page to help pay for the burial of Mr. Flowers, and rest in peace, young man.
Yep.
Okay, so we have to continue to do the job, right? The show must go on. And I guess we start talking Lobo football, and that was versus Nevada. Kind of same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Yeah, I got
Talking
you.
Heads.
Yeah, I got you.
I had to get all three in.
Right.
Because that's the way the song goes.
Sure. Defense didn't play bad. They held Nevada to 21 points. The offense, Tavaca wasn't awful by any stretch, but they just couldn't move the football. Nevada is very good against the run. They're one of the top teams in the Mountain West, and I think they were 52nd in the nation last week against the run. And the run game never got going, and really the Lobos just couldn't move the ball.
Offensively, throwing the ball, there was a few drops.
There was several drops,
like 4 or 5 really critical drops. I know there was some talk about the officiating at the beginning Marcus Williams was called for an offensive pass interference in the end zone. Marcus Williams. Did I say Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay. Which was sketchy at best. But I mean, look, this is just reality. If you're a bad football team, you're usually not going to get the benefit of good calls.
That's probably fair.
Or at least the perception is that you're not going to.
Look, let's be really clear. Officiating did not cost.
No.
However, now having said that, there were some questionable calls. There was Amari Davis. Sure looked like he converted on 4th down for a first down, and they spotted it short. Immediately went to timeout. Never looked at the play.
Oh, they never looked at the play?
Never went back and looked at it.
I'm curious. This is always like a curious thing to me, because obviously in the college ranks, they look automatic. I think they do in the pros sometimes as well. But the coaches still have a red flag.
Yeah.
Why is, I mean, it's not like Bob Davie really uses his timeouts anyway. I never understood why he's so hesitant to pull the red flag.
Well, no, look, he's pulled the red flag several times, but you have to pick and choose, and you don't want to waste it early, especially if, even though you think you're right, if you don't believe it's going to be overturned.
Well, you're in the red zone, you're pretty close, and I think that was probably pretty conclusive evidence that was a first down.
Yeah. But again, you also shouldn't have to use it in that situation. That they should take a look at it in the booth, and if they think it's worth taking more of a look at, then you bring the officials in.
You're 2-10. You really haven't done anything all year long. The chances of you winning another game, are pretty slim. Throw the damn flag.
Okay. He should have thrown the flag. You're
I
right.
think he should have.
Let's flog him. Let's get the torches. Let's get the
That's already
the whips.
being done. I don't think there's
I don't know what
flogging.
you want, dude.
I'm just saying. I'm just looking at the game myself. It's like you have nothing to lose at this point. I mean, you just don't. There's nothing left to lose. Throw it all out there and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to lose another game? Oh, wait, you lost anyway.
Right, but
you were in the red zone.
You're saving it for a bigger moment in the game where it could mean the difference in a win or loss. You still had a lot of football left to be played at that point.
But you were in the red zone.
I got you.
It's 4th and whatever. I don't think it was 4th and goal. Well, no, it wasn't. It was 4th and inches. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or 4th and a yard. Your team hasn't shown the ability to score for the most part all year long, except for versus New Mexico State. You're down there. You might as well take the shot. I don't know. That's just me. But that's part of the fun of watching a football game.
Sure.
Is pretending you're a coach or questioning. I know that you. How was the view? We talked about this a couple weeks ago about your view from the penthouse area here at Dreamstyle Stadium. What's the view like there where you were at?
Very good. That
was
actually,
a pretty stadium.
Yeah, you're actually very low down.
Oh, were you? You weren't up in the
press
skyline?
So yeah, it was a good view.
Okay. All right. Cool. I disagree with you a little bit on the defense, because the wide receiver, which is typical of of at least one wide receiver every team the Lobos plays, they couldn't stop him. I can't even think of his name. I just remember he just kept catching ball after ball, and he was wide open basically the entire time.
Well, look, that's something that's been an issue all year. You didn't think that was going to magically.
Well, yeah, like I said, there's always at least one wide receiver that's going to have a huge game against the Lobos.
All I said was the defense was pretty good. They held Nevada to 21 points.
They did.
Now, if you want to say, well, Nevada's not that good, that's fine. And maybe there's some truth to that, but Nevada with the win, they're 1 win away from bowl eligibility, and the Lobos have lost 6 straight. So.
And the Lobos have officially been eliminated from bowl eligibility.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, just thoughts. There's good news in Lobo land.
Okay.
Lobo basketball season. Women started last night. They had a victory, and then the men start on Wednesday night, tonight, if you're watching live. The Pit's back or not back?
I don't know. We haven't had a game yet.
Are you going to be attending the game this evening?
Yeah.
You do the...
Yeah, I'm always there.
Is it harder to not have the penthouse view from Dreamstyle Stadium to being
you've got the
courtside?
The courtside view.
I know, because every time they show it on TV, there's Michael's smiling face. I go, I know that TV and radio superstar.
Easy.
I'm just saying, usually wear the black.
Sometimes.
Right?
Sometimes.
Every time I see you wearing the black, and you're just kind of like smooth, like ready to go. You should have like sunglasses on.
Well, I want to be able to see. You don't wear sunglasses indoors.
You can. You're a star. Please. How many times have you given your autograph? Have you given your autograph?
I'm sure I
have. That's cool. No, it's cool. I think it's cool.
Not sure how we just went from good news in Lobo land to have you given an autograph.
I don't know,
Like,
because
sure.
that's good news. I think it's good news
Is
that
it?
you give an autograph.
Well, it is because I charge like $25.
Right,
So
and see,
that is good news.
I feel like I'm around royalty, radio, television royalty when I sit next to you.
You really should get out more. That would be my advice.
Well,
to you.
who
Get
else
out
am I
more.
going to talk to? JJ or Jeff or
Sure.
or Van or some of these other cats that are out
Yeah.
there? All right. I still say you're royalty. How's that? Self-made, self-paid. I've been listening to Kanye. Sorry, man.
You don't bow down to me.
Well, that's true. That would be weird.
No, not really.
Your thoughts on Lobo basketball? Obviously, Drew Drennan. He's not back. He left.
Right.
There hasn't been any kind of
Correct.
talk about that. I don't know if there was rumors. Obviously, these are just rumors. I'm not reporting this as a journalist, just as talking that there was a lot of people that thought he was going to leave, at the end of last season. He did not. And obviously, some people are using this to fuel that rumor now. In the Twitter sphere.
In the Twitter sphere. Yeah, look, we're going to have to see how that plays out with him. But this is a team that was picked to finish third in the Mountain West Conference. And I think there's more than enough talent to do that. And if everything gels exactly the way Paul Ware wants it to, maybe you finish a little higher and certainly being in legit contention for the Mountain West Conference tournament come March. But again, we got to see how the games play out because, as I recall, there were pretty high hopes last year, and those didn't quite pan out.
Well, there was an injury, I think, that
way that
kind of
people would hope.
stymied
Sure.
them.
No, absolutely.
And Lyle's back, so
Yeah.
that's definitely going to bode well.
Yep, no doubt.
I think also Carlton Bragg. My personal opinion, that guy's too good to have another bad year. And I think now that he's in, he gets acclimated to the system. He gets acclimated to his teammates.
Did Carlton Bragg have a bad year last year?
I think for his standards, yeah. That's just my opinion. I mean, I think you talked about expectations and hopes. I think a lot of people, myself included, if we remember last year, he missed a lot of bunnies and a lot of dunks and layups. And
He wasn't the only one.
well, right. No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not pointing the focus at him, but he's the guy that I think most people had pegged as the superstar once Lyle went down with injury. So I think having that in and out thing, I think that'll definitely help.
You know what? For better or for worse, it was Mathis's team last year. It would have been even if Jaquan Lyle didn't go down with the injury.
Maybe.
So you were going to live and die with Anthony Mathis
Maybe.
last year.
I think things might have changed as the season wore on. But that just, that's speculation. And once again, that's just the fun of sitting here and watching it. But I think Bragg and Lyle are going to have a great in and out game. They'll be able to put together. Obviously, Coach Weir talked about they're stopping the starting lineups due to tips. So that's changing. He's going to have more of a standard starting five and then kind of break that down and see how they play and then do rotations in that way. I think that's going to help as well. I liked the idea. I wasn't against the idea.
There was nothing wrong with the idea. I think in execution of it, though, it was hard to get any consistency out on the court because it was a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the time, the lineups are so different, it was hard for people to get into rhythms and really embrace what their role was because their role was constantly changing.
And I think we have to remember that coaches learn just like players learn. And I think this is something Coach Weir wanted to try. He thought it was a good idea. Maybe it didn't work. Well, it didn't work out. And now he's scrapping that and going to this.
You mean like how Coach Davey thought it was a good idea not to throw the challenge flag, but learn maybe in hindsight next time it would be a better idea?
There's a difference from where Coach Weir Weir is in his coaching career and where Bob Davey is in his coaching career.
I agree.
There's also, we could put it this way. Isn't it time to scrap the spread offense and go back? Well, you can't now. It's too late. But if Bob Davey were to stay, maybe it's time to bring back that old pistol option that seemed to be successful at UNM for so many years.
Maybe.
Maybe not. We'll come back with a little kitty cat news right here on Red Menace TV.
Chavez on a play action, and he's going to go for it deep down the far sideline, and he's got what? First down for the 16 handoff is Dorian, and he's in. Touchdown. The
looking for the trick play right off the bat, and it might work.
Wow.
Up and down the sideline. There's no red anywhere to be found. Touchdown, Eagles, fly, baby, fly on the opening play. He's dropping, he's looking. He's going to throw it deep. Carter pulls out there. Ball is caught at the 10, the 5. Carter, second touchdown on the night. Looking towards Jackson. Jackson one-on-one. Kevin brings it in.
wow.
Touchdown, Sandia.
Man, was that a good throw and a fantastic catch by the receiver. Not too confident. Here's the handoff. Dorian's got all the room. Dorian a cut to the outside, and he's going to go for the 5, diving in. Is he there?
Throw it, looking, throws it in the end zone, ball is caught! Touchdown, Clovis Wildcats! Goodness, what a play.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV. I was wrong. There's 2 kitty cat stories. Which one do you want first, the good kitty cat or the better kitty cat?
Oh well, let's build up.
Okay, so let's go with the good one.
Okay.
NFL this whole week, I think the biggest superstar of the weekend was that black cat that crawled into Giants Stadium there for the Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
I think what have we seen memes? Obviously, yeah, everyone wins the Twitter world, but I saw him in the PS4 cover. I saw him in the A Football Life, the documentary that ESPN does, and then where was it? Fox had a great thing, and then you mentioned on the show, I'm sure because I heard you, Harlan.
Oh, okay, Kevin Harlan's call, yeah, for the Westwood One call.
Spectacular, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was funny. And I think that shows how weird NFL football's become. That's just funny. The better one, or that was the better one. No, that was not the better.
Oh Lord,
I'm confused now. Is it bad that they show Steve Alford, Corey Rowe, and Noodles, and a huge F-bomb flies out of my mouth?
I thought you were a better person than that.
I am a better person than that. I didn't write that. Someone else wrote that. I'm just reading it.
Oh, you're plagiarizing. Okay.
I'm plagiarizing. Well, I'm giving credit. I said it's on Twitter. I give credit.
That's really not credit, but that's okay.
How would you give credit?
Well, the person who actually said it or wrote it.
They have a nickname, Crazy Lobo Lady.
Oh, Okay, well, there you go.
Is that credit? You wanted an APA format?
No.
Okay, great, cool. I thought it was funny. You don't think it's funny? I mean, you do the show this afternoon. Obviously, Nevada played last night. The former Lobo coaching staffs and players are there at Nevada.
Sure.
Obviously, there's a lot. I think there's animosity building up for that. That's going to be a huge game. It's one of the games, part of the mini packs that are being sold by UNM basketball. And I think this is a game that I think Eddie Nunez, Paul Weir, and Lobo Marketing is definitely looking forward to, as it's going to be sold out and there's going to be some excitement and stuff going on.
Sure.
So this is just kind of the buildup. You don't see it that way?
No, hate on Steve Alford all you want and Craig Neal. That's
I'm not hating. I said it wasn't me. I'm not hating. I'm glad they're gone. I don't really care. But I just hope that Coach Weir can beat them. That's kind of rivalry
so
stuff.
You do
it's
care.
fun stuff. Well, I care that the Lobos win. I want them to beat them.
Okay.
Of course. I would look, after 3 years of horrific Lobo football, 2 years of mediocre Lobo men's basketball, sports being cut, the Paul Krebs story, being in the newspaper with nothing good, lack of attendance for both sports, all sports at UNM. It would be nice to have a bright spot come about in 3 years, don't you think?
And beating Nevada would be the bright spot?
No, having a good Lobo basketball season would be a bright spot.
Okay.
It seems like forever since they were in the NCAA tournament and losing in the first round.
Okay, I'm just confused because it seems like you're talking about two things simultaneously.
Well, they're one and the
beating
same.
Alford and Neal. Well, no, you can still have a great season and lose to Nevada.
You could, but it would be a better season.
So that's why I'm confused. So lose more games but beat Nevada is better than win more games.
No. I
Nevada?
said you can do both.
Okay.
In fact, both would be better. But
Sure.
I'm just saying, Lobo fans would love nothing better than to smash. Come on, you have to admit that.
Right. Wasn't there a second cat story somewhere along the way?
There he is. There's my man, right? All right, I guess there's a girl. They haven't announced.
I don't know. Maybe
it could be the first.
Look a little
female.
closer and let's get confirmation.
I'm not going to check. Lift your tail so we can see. I don't think so. But I thought that was pretty hilarious. It was a great story. It was funny. And I thought, that was kind of a...
Who would have thought that in a game that had Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley, the best runner on the field would have been a cat?
Well, she was elusive. I think, isn't that what Kevin Harlan... He even compared. He threw the comparison out there. He said, this cat's more elusive than both Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott.
It was. The cuts, the moves, the juking and jiving, I mean, come on.
It was pretty good, and scored.
Yeah, and scored.
And was able to find their way out of the end zone. Kind of like, remember Forrest Gump when he ran?
Yeah.
Or we can go way back. I don't think you were in town then when Lobos played Texas Tech and the horse escaped, but didn't quite make it out of the stadium.
I've heard tales.
You've heard the tales, yeah. So this cat made it out free and
clear.
What
year is this? Did you really just make a Forrest Gump reference?
Yeah, dude, come on. Don't you remember he was running and he just scored the touchdown and they're like, stop, Forrest.
Yeah, no, I remember, yeah. Everybody in the stands held up the sign, and it all came together. I remember.
The Texas Tech reference is a lot older than the Forrest Gump reference.
No, I know.
Okay?
I know.
I have a wide span of references from many, many decades of being a Lobo fan.
Unfortunately, none from this decade.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot to be like we were talking about the basketball team. There's not a lot of positives going on right now in this decade.
Not a lot of positives like the horse story.
Which? Well,
right, which wasn't a positive story.
Well, it wasn't a Lobo that slammed his head in there and went feet up. It was a Texas
Dude,
it was like this. It was standing like that, or not standing. It was on its back, and they put a tarp over it and tied some twine. So all you saw was the stubs of the horse like that with the tarp covering it. The players came down on the stadium, the Texas Tech players, and they're looking like, what went on?
What is wrong with you, man?
I'm twisted. What do you want? See what happens when you allow animals? Do you want to go to where the Boomer Sooner wagon came earlier this year and they flipped it and the horse ran away? No. Nobody was injured.
No.
Nobody was on their back with their feet up. The horse was fine.
No. Speaking of the Sooner Schooner.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Boomer, yeah, that's what it is. Our old buddy Eric G, when he was at Oklahoma, he was on the Sooner Schooner when it flipped one time.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't you think that in a college where they have like engineers and
It's a covered wagon, Leroy. What do you want him to put training wheels on?
Well, you could improve it. I mean, maybe widen it out a little bit. Maybe if you have your animal husbandry people kind of work on, like, let's work on the
animal
angles.
husbandry? What?
Yeah, they study animal stuff. You never heard of that?
Like
Okay.
what? Like veterinarians?
Kind of. That could be part of that too.
Okay.
But you work on the angles and break out what was I'm trying to the compass.
Animal
and everything
husbandry sounds like some dude married an animal.
Well, there's some of that too, I guess. It's Oklahoma. What do you want? Fair enough.
We should move on.
We're digressing hard, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Anyway,
you should tell more of that uplifting story about the horse.
Yeah.
My lord.
Well, nobody died with the boomer schooner or whatever it's called.
The Sooner schooner.
Sooner schooner, boomer sooner schooner. I don't know. I don't follow Oklahoma football or their horse. Anyways, like I said, there hasn't been a lot of positives in Loboland.
Sure.
In this decade, and you've been on the radio all. I mean, how hard is it? I mean, how hard is it to constantly have to try to drum up excitement?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's my job to drum up excitement.
Okay.
How hard is it to talk about? Yeah, at times it can be really tough.
Yeah. I mean, I hear the calls.
Yeah. Especially, when you're back-to-back 3-9 seasons. Right now, you're projecting out to a 2-10 season. Yeah, that's.
Oh no, you're having a 2-10
season. It's hard to get positive feedback from listeners regarding the game.
In fact, the NCAA may be petitioning to take one of those wins away. It's that way they can be 1-11. I don't know. That's a joke. That's a bad joke.
That's a terrible joke.
But it's still possible. I don't know. It's Lobo basketball. I want it to do well. I want them to beat Steve
I think
Alford.
we all do.
I think that's a great rivalry, something that Loboland has been missing for quite a few years. We had it when San Diego State was really good, and Fisher and Alfred were here. But
who?
Steve Alfred. He's coach at Nevada now.
Alfred?
Yeah, remember everyone thought he was the greatest until Harvard buried him.
So
anyway,
what you're insinuating is that he is a fraud, so hence Alfred instead of Alfred.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I got it.
Yeah,
That's
you
cool.
got it. I
Okay.
mean, I think I've made that reference before. But anyway, I want him to see him beat. This could be the start of a pretty good rivalry that we haven't had. This could rank right in there with the old UTEP rivalries from way back in the day when the Bear came. The hatred of BYU. Maybe the Rick Majerus when he was at Utah. That was also a great rivalry. And more recently, I would say when Steve Fisher was at San Diego State. Sure. I think Lobo basketball has missed that the past couple of years. It just hasn't been there. Even the New Mexico State, it's a rivalry. You want that extra one. And I think hence that's why you have these mini packs that some people are complaining about. Sure. I don't see why. I think it's a great marketing move by the University of New Mexico.
Yeah, I don't get the complaining for the mini packs either. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's a smart thing that should have been done.
I agree.
And I think it's working out, and I think the people that buy it, they're happy. And this allows, look, if you don't want to go see the Lobos versus Timbuktu State, give the tickets away to somebody. Let them go and enjoy it. You get to go see the game that you want to see, and that's that.
Is that in Egypt?
Timbuktu? I don't know where it's at, but
Timbuktu State.
This is an old reference. Once again, we're going to go back to prior to the horse.
What conference are they in?
I don't know. Not the not so good conference. Where are we conference?
In the Middle East conference or something.
They could be there too. Middle Eastern New Mexico.
Who I think was on the schedule a couple years ago.
They just created a school to come in. But I'm just saying, I think it's a great move. I think it's a great move by UNM marketing. I think it's smooth. I know there was a little bit of, but I think people are starting to kind of warm up to understand what it's all about.
Sure.
And there are times, I mean, and you've been there before where it's just like they're playing, whatever tech you want to talk, Eastern and Southwestern tech of the school of nonsense. And there's like,
there's that season where they played all those teams named Wood.
Yeah, exactly.
Longwood,
and there was like
Edgewood.
how many people, there was more wood from you could see from
that
the
was during
seats.
hold on, let me see if I can say it, the Alfred era.
Well, what is your nickname for Mr. Alfred?
Oh, he was the patron saint of Lobo Victories.
Well, there you go. I kind of like the Alfred better than the patron saint, though I like that.
Well,
one
he
too.
can't be anymore because he's not here. So yeah, it's a dated reference.
That's it. Hey, we're going to take off right now. Enjoy the football games. Don't forget, Playoff Football on NFHS Network with some of your favorite ProView hosts.
I have a strong desire to ride a horse now. I don't know why.
We're going to turn it over to Micah Frankel of CageMinds.com. We'll see you all next week. God bless you all.
beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? 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 Dang, this one made me feel all special.
To win the race, I can't even explain how, in fact, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. No matter where you go, you're an Indy 500 winner. The only way to be successful in racing is to stay on top of the technical edge, and we've done that with our dealership. So a lot of technology in our service department and sales processes, everything is the very latest. That gives you an edge. That's being competitive in the car business. You can take it any way you want, but that's the truth.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. This is Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel, coming off of a Canelo BMF weekend. My gosh, was everything crazy. Some big fights. We even had local action. But we'll get to all of that as soon as we can get the highlights rolling, because we're going to start off with some PFL action. The final event of the playoffs. We're talking about the final event of the quarterfinals and semifinals. Took place Halloween night, and now we are all ready to go for New Year's Eve in New York. Jordan Johnson, Emilio Sordi will be the light heavyweight final. Sordi, the top seed. First round finishes a knockout in a submission in the quarterfinals and the semis to get past Ali Ifslov, a big win. Friday night, you had Invicta FC 38 on Fight Pass. Vanessa Porto does not have to defend her title after Karina Rodriguez misses weight. Porto able to survive and pick up the decision victory without the stress of having to defend her title. Big opportunity missed there from Rodriguez, who did have a very tough fight. It was close. Porto gets the victory. Would have liked to seen it go 2 more rounds. And a new strawweight champion was crowned. Koneko Maruto will take the Invicta title back to Japan with her, defeating Emily Ducote by unanimous decision in the main event. Again, replay for that event is up on Fight Pass. Friday night, right here in Albuquerque, we had boxing, Holmes Boxing Havoc Showdown, Marriott Pyramid North. Start out with the fight of the night. They went all 4 rounds. Bryant McLean used his length better than we ever had seen. But there's nobody better at closing the distance and getting on the inside than Lorenzo Benavidez. Both guys had their moments. It was a draw. Hopefully we have a rematch. Go up to the co-main event. It was one-way traffic, and that's the way the judges scored it. Derek Pettis hung tough, but Donald Sanchez, now 2-0 under Power and Glory Boxing, big decision victory. Antonio Otto Martinez in the main event would land a massive right hand. Gallegos would be able to survive. Tone would show off new technique, not brawl, and pick up the decision victory. Photos, thanks to Rob Gutierrez, are up on the Cage Minds Facebook page. Saturday night, jumping ahead of the UFC event, jumping over to the boxing event to talk about Canelo versus Kovalev, and it was Canelo Alvarez. 2 minutes, 15 seconds into the 11th round. A right hand clips Kovalev, a right hand the damage, a right hand to put him to sleep. Now, history making, your 4-division champion, 4 different weight classes, Canelo Alvarez picking up that WBO light heavyweight title. Possibilities are he's not done yet. Canelo could go up to cruiserweight. Backtrack to earlier in the evening, the real main course for everybody, UFC 244 taking place in the Big Apple. Prelims, bunch of finishes, Lyman Good stuffs the takedown attempts of Chance Red Encounter, makes the grappler pay, a 3rd round TKO from punches. Jair Rosenstruck, do not forget the name, 9-0, took 29 seconds to wax Andre Orlovsky. Edmund Shabazian, 11-0, he's in the top 10 now, baby, the middleweights. Front kick knockout of Brad Tavares, 227 in the 1st round. Shane Burgos puts the punches on Amakwan Americani, finding the finish just before the end of the fight. Great boxing. Corey Anderson making a statement, making it loud, derailing the hype train of Johnny Walker, punching and punching, doing damage in close with the dirty boxing and getting the 1st round finish. The pay-per-view main card kicked off with Kevin Lee nearly kicking the head off of Gregor Gillespie, the sickest knockout of his career. Then we get up to that main event, the all-anticipated BMF title fight that would not end as everybody would like. The fight is stopped right there, TKO, doctor stoppage before the 4th round, giving Masvidal the title, stopping the fight due to that gnarly cut. I mean, that was gnarly and deep. Looking back at that fight now, there's a couple things you got to talk about. Masvidal's performance came out on fire, electric, stuns Diaz immediately, then lands the head kick, knocking Diaz down, nearly finishing the fight, getting a lot of damaging strikes off in that 1st round. A superb game plan, and to be honest, you got to figure from concussive blows, Diaz's head was never in the fight after that head kick landed in the 1st round. To Diaz's credit, he's tough. He never gave up. He did have his moments of landing great combinations, but was not able to sustain offense against Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal was on it, was on his offense, his defense, his precision. Great performance by Masvidal. Earned that TKO victory. One-way traffic. People could say that they like to see what happened in the later rounds because that's when Diaz picks up the momentum. But he was getting beat badly from what we did see. Now, the cut is what caused the stoppage to the fight, and a lot of people want to blame the doctor. I heard earlier that the doctor is now fear for his own life because he's getting death threats after the stoppage. We know there was a lot of money on the line. It's hard out there to be in combat sports. But when you look back at the stoppage, it needed to be. The cut was deeper and worse than the first time Diaz was cut. The first time, yeah, his win over Anthony Pettis, UFC 241, just happened when we realized he's this big, massive superstar on his own. Yeah, he still got busted up. That same cut, that's when the cut first occurred. It was not properly treated. It was not properly closed. It was not fully healed up. And that blame can only go on the doctors and Diaz for pushing the fight to happen at this point. Maybe it even goes at the UFC's fault for making the fight happen so quickly, not allowing Diaz to have the proper amount of time. But you can't blame the cut on the doctor. You blame the cut on the cut not being healed because it's the same cut. You blame it on Diaz for not working on his head movement, for not keeping that right hand up anymore, knowing it's going to be a target, knowing that that entity is vulnerable. He allowed it to happen. Masvidal took advantage. The game plan was great. It wasn't like he set out to go for that eye, but once it's open, you have to attack the weakness. Dana White was not happy with the stoppage, but then after seeing Diaz backstage, said he felt it was perfectly justified seeing the man's eyelid nearly drooping into the eye. It was a great win for Masvidal. Diaz would like a rematch. We'd all like to see a rematch. Love to see a second meeting between those two guys. Could it be immediate? Well, for Diaz, it could be the next fight up, but not in the essence of immediate. Immediate would be right away. It's not going to happen. He needs to heal up. Masvidal, the big win, deserves the kind of platform that victory should get him, and I'm talking about fighting the winner of Usman versus Covington. If it's Covington, the backstory that they were former training partners, used to corner each other, and now they're heated rivals, oodles of money at the box office. The UFC would love to go with that story and put Masvidal versus Covington. Either way, that BMF title goes on the wall, should never be defended again. Masvidal wins it, and now he's the #1 contender at 170 pounds. And also, for my money, Fighter of the Year. 3 wins, 3 big stoppages. We're talking about Till, talking about Askren, and talking about Diaz. I believe that here we are in November, and I can already say it. Jorge Masvidal is our 2019 Fighter of the Year. So like I said, a lot of stuff, including Canelo and that fourth division world title that he picked up this weekend. Huge stuff. No time to stop, though, because we got things coming up this weekend as we can look towards what's happening inside the cage this weekend. Start off with one championship, Masters of Fate in Manila, the Philippines, headlined by Joshua Pico and Henan Catalan battling for the men's strawweight title. Also, B-Win is on that card against Stamp Fairtex. Friday night, Bellator is in Oklahoma, Windstar Royal Casino, Thackerville for Bellator 233. John Salter, credible grappler, Constantino Van Nuys, the Gegard Mousasi protege and an excellent striker in the main event. It's a wrestling heavy card. King Mo's retirement fight, Terrell Fortune, Romero Cotton, Tyree Fortune, Logan Storley, Devion Franklin, Christian Edwards, all incredible grappling pedigrees to be featured out there in Oklahoma. You know Oklahoma, with Oklahoma State there, the Cowboys, that incredible wrestling program. So the wrestlers will be heavily featured. Next afternoon, you got the UFC in Moscow for UFC Fight Night 163 on ESPN+, a featherweight main event. #5 ranked contender Zabit Magomed Sharapov, 17-1, 5-0 inside the UFC, faces #11 ranked contender Calvin Kattar, who's 20-3, won 4 of his last 5 fights, all those in the octagon. His last 2 victories by main event. On short notice, Greg Hardy jumps up to the co-main event. He'll be taking on he's replacing Junior Dos Santos to take on #7 ranked contender Alexander Volkov. Additionally, diamond in the rough at welterweight, Anthony Rocco Martin, Ramiz Embiid opens up the main card. That one at welterweight, flying under the radar. Unbeaten Roman Kopylov makes his promotional debut. That young, powerful Russian is someone to keep an eye on also. So that's what's happening this weekend inside of the cage. Now we'll take you inside of the ring to talk about the boxing world. Thursday nights on Saitama, Japan, NUA, Danier, 12 rounds, IBF, WBA, bantamweight unification. It's the World Super Series final. You can check that out on DAZN. Same night, Alex Flores versus Mario Herrera. It's 10 rounds. and they're at heavyweight. That's on Fight Pass. Not to mention Brianna Sanchez fights Albuquerque's very own Amanda Borg on that Roy Jones Jr. card. On Saturday, Jamal Herring versus Lamont Roja. 4 Herring's WBO Junior Lightweight title. That's in Fresno, California. And on DAZN in LA, KSI versus Paul Logan, too. Can't believe I'm saying it. Billy Saunders versus Mauricio Escoban for the WBO Super Middleweight title is on the undercard. And then here locally Saturday night, ProView Networks has the stream. I'll be out there. Legacy Boxing Promotions, New Eras, Pitbull Josh Torres, Juan Jesus Rivera Baracas in the main event. Co-main event, Isaac Luna, Wedo Sanchez, ABF title fights with Angel Baby, and not to mention Amos Salinas on the card. Derek Pettis, after fighting Donald Sanchez, is going to jump into the ring against Gabe Gobaldon. It's Tingley Coliseum. It's boxing right here on ProView Networks this weekend. And there's a lot more to talk about when we get back after these commercials.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Is this my car? State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up!
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke.
Welcome back, everybody. Like I said, it's a busy weekend of fights upcoming. Just north of us, a couple hours away in Colorado Springs, there's going to be No Mercy 68. And funny enough, both sides of the main event are driving up from Albuquerque to compete. Colorado Springs' own AJ Robb will be in his second in a row No Mercy main event. So we're going to start there and go to him to talk about and get his thoughts on fighting up there at home and taking on Charlie Williams this weekend. No Mercy 68, back-to-back main events in your hometown. How's that?
It's great. It's great. Making it happen. Making, my vision's coming, full form. So I love it. I love representing my people, representing Colorado, representing Colorado Springs, Widefield. So I'm excited. I'm excited to show out for my people again. After this fight, I'm not sure what's next, but hopefully, I'll jump back on LFA, jump back on a big promotion, and make some noise. So I'm ready to go.
2 in a row, I believe it is now.
Yeah, 2 in a row. Yep. Fought in January and I fought in September.
How's it feel?
Good. Last year, I said last time, 2018 went 0-2, horrible year, mentally, physically. 2019, back on the map.
What was that moment like, AJ Robb, in front of your people, your crowd? We talked about the anticipation, how you thought it would feel. What was that moment like?
It was great. It was amazing. I've never had a feeling like that ever in my whole fight career. The aura, the energy I got. I don't even feel like I walked to the stage. I floated all the way into the arena, into the cage. It was great. It was great. It was a crazy feeling. Can't wait to do it again. Can't wait to have that energy, crowd on my side. Tough fight. We'll fight smart. We'll show that we learned. We'll show that we're better fighters than last time. So I'm excited for it.
What did you show this past time? Where did you feel that the improvement shined through?
I think I was really patient. With Benji, he was 8-12, or I think it was 8-12 when I fought him. I could have went out there and tried to knock him out, but instead I was calculated, used my setups, found my way inside, got him to the ground, choked him out. Real methodical, real technical. Nothing crazy, nothing insane, nothing. 2015 AJ, just a Tasmanian devil in there, losing his mind. There's a lot more controlled, and I felt like I showed that in that fight.
A pretty quick turnaround. It was 67. Now you're headlining 68. Is there room in this time for you still to develop, not just train for a fight?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think after every fight, you take away what you did wrong, take away what you did right, you get better at what you did right, and you correct all the things you did wrong. And that's what we did. We came back in here. I took a week and a half off, and enjoyed the rest of September, and then got right back into the gym for the whole month of October. Trained hard, worked with my coaches, worked on little things that to make sure we're not just going in blind and going in with our head up. Just taking all the little things and making sure we got them all taken care of, so we can just keep this streak going, keep it rolling on.
Coming up November 9th, Charlie Williams, the opponent, has submission and knockout potential. How do you handle this challenge?
He's a tough fighter. 5-1. That's a big jump, especially for a no mercy card at 5-1 versus 3-2. It's probably one of their best headliners they've ever had. It's gonna be tough. I'm not. I haven't seen him fight. I see he fights maybe once a year. So maybe he probably puts all his guts into one fight camp a year. So I got to be ready for everything. Be ready for 15-minute brawl. Be ready to get hit hard. Be ready to get knocked down and get back up. I'm ready for everything. I'm ready for his submissions. I train with Pat Mix. I train with UFC fighters, top legit black belts in here. So Andrew Tennyson, for example. I'm not really. I'm worried about submissions, but I'm not worried about getting caught in submission. I know how to get out of it. I'll be aware of it, and I'll be aware of the power too. I train with John Dotson, one of the hardest hitting bantamweights in the UFC division. So I'm not worried about power either. I'm worried, but I'm not worried. I'll take it. I can take it as well as I can give it. So it'll be fun.
There you go. You hear from AJ Robb talking about No Mercy 68. Now let's head across the corner and get Charlie Brown Williams' side of the story, what it'll take to play spoiler on Saturday night.
I'll just leave it in God's hands, and he'll bring me a good fight, and then here we are, November 9th, we're going to be fighting AJ Robb.
What do you think of the opportunity? Waited for it. It's the main event.
Oh man, it's a good opportunity for me. I like to travel. I like to go see Colorado. So this one's in Colorado Springs. I prepared. I've been, I haven't stepped away from the gym. I've been in here sharpening my skills for the last 10 months. So hopefully everything pays off.
What has that been like? Where have you developed? Where you feel you've grown the most in the last 10 months?
I think my stand-up maybe got sharper, everything total, I think, because I work everything. I work my wrestling, my jits, my boxing, Muay Thai. We're complete. So I think everything as a unit is complete or close to complete. Everything's good, So, I feel ready to throw.
What are your thoughts on going into AJ's hometown playing that road villain?
Oh man, I like to be the outsider. I went out in Pennsylvania a couple years ago, fought the hometown guy, and I took him 3 rounds. He's the guy that broke my arm, but man, I was knocking the crap out of him, and he didn't like it, and it's too bad I had to break my arm, but it was a good fight, and I like playing that role because for some reason I get the crowd on my side, I think they like my name,
Heading into this one, you look at AJ. He's young. He's got some momentum. What does it take for you to stop that?
Well, so he's super athletic. He likes to throw punches, and I like to throw punches too. So I think it's a pretty good matchup for the both of us. You know, he's the young guy. I'm the older guy, and it's a pretty good matchup.
Talk to me about your wrestling ability. He comes in. He's had wrestling ability, wrestling there in Colorado. Talk about your.
So I train wrestling a lot. I like wrestling. I think it's should be everybody's base going into MMA. You know, but I got sharp wrestling skills, and I think they'll play in hand on the November 9th. How well he could take a punch, how well I could take a punch. But as intense, how the fight gets more intense, I get with it. You know, I like to rise to the occasion. You know, that's what I was taught playing sports as a young age. You know, to rise above. So I think that's what will come into play, is me coming above the situation, whatever it involves.
Local flavor to the Colorado Springs main event, incorporating Albuquerque. That one is going to be a banger. Now, earlier in the show, we did also mention the heavily influenced Bellator 233 show, Tuckerville, Oklahoma, on Paramount Friday night. On that card, jumping directly into the pro ranks, no amateur MMA experience. Davian Franklin from the Jackson Wink Academy went over to there to catch up with the big heavyweight and talk about his jump into mixed martial arts. Making the pro debut at Bellator 233. Thank you for the time, sir. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
We're here at Jackson Wink MMA. Talk to us about MMA. How'd you get into MMA?
I believe this is my calling. This is my calling. This is what God made me to do. I feel like, so I don't know. This is I'm here. I'm doing it.
When did you start training?
Earlier this year.
Earlier this year. So
Yes, sir.
About your background.
As far as mixed martial arts, I've been a lifelong wrestler. I've been wrestling since I was 10 years old, and I wrestled in high school, third in the nation my senior year, national qualifier my freshman year of college, and yeah, it's just been a grind, honestly.
What other kind of athletics did you participate in?
In high school, I did track, rugby, football. I did football in college too, so yeah, it's pretty legit.
Lifelong athlete, competitor?
Yeah, something like that.
What has it been about athletics, martial arts that's pushed you to continue to strive, to continue to compete?
To get into MMA, it was more so. I went through a rough patch, and I realized I needed to get back to my old ways, which is athletics, because that's what kind of got my life going in a positive momentum, and it kind of changed everything for me. But once I started kind of messing up, I knew I needed to get back to it. So MMA is a place to go for me, for sure.
So this is a change from getting out of what you were doing before?
Yes, it's my way of getting my life on track after I've lost everything, and now I'm getting everything back. I'm becoming who I was in high school, who like everybody expected me to be, and it's a good feeling, man. Trust me, it's a good feeling.
Are you able to want to get into any of that story?
Not right now.
Not right now, but
Nah.
we know the feature full-length film will be coming one day, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Right now, tell us the story of what led to you coming to New Mexico.
The real story is I felt like I related to the best mixed martial artist of all time. His comeback story really inspired me. John Jones, of course, and I just felt like this is the best gym in the world. It has the greatest of all time there, and Greg Jackson, Coach Wink are the best coaches on the planet. So I say, I know I have talent. I know if I can come here and work with the best in the world, then I can do something. And it's just happened. It happened so fast. And it's God's plan. It's how I feel.
Go to cageminds.com to see the entirety of the interviews with AJ Robb, Charlie Brown Williams, Davian Franklin, not to mention Carson Nash. We didn't have time to play her interview. She's in action this weekend in Oklahoma. Catch up with me on the Sports Animal 95.9 FM, 610 AM, Saturday for On the Mic with Mike Adams. That's 11 to 1. Again, Cage Minds across social media and the website. Thanks for joining us this week.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm